All right, before I was so rudely interrupted. WCW Monday Nitro, November 24th, 1997, from Saginaw, Michigan. Start off, of course, with the NWO, as we do pretty much every week. They make their way down to the ring, sans Kevin Nash. Eric Bischoff announces that Curt Hennig is still the U.S. champion. I forgot to say that World War III was the previous night. Scott Hall had made history by defeating 59 other top athletes to win World War III. Now, doesn't the winner of World War III get a shot at the champion?
Yeah, that's what they said here.
Isn't Hulk Hogan the champion?
Yeah.
So
they said Scott Hall is next in line for a shot at Hulk Hogan's world title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was no problem with this.
No.
Okay.
Clearly, they had planned the finger poke of doom years in advance.
But Kevin Nash was not the winner.
I'm talking the concept, jackass. When they got in the ring together, he was going to lay down for the guy.
Hogan gets on the mic. He says he feels the deck is now stacked with the NWO winning World War III. He said they were just too sweet. Because he's feeling so sweet right now, he would like to put the title up against anybody tonight. The Giant answers the challenge, comes down to the ring, but J.J. Dillon has to stop him because he's not medically cleared to wrestle because, well, Giant has a great big cast on his arm. Giant says he'll sign whatever paperwork is needed. He just wants that match with Hulk Hogan, and he called him the Blonde Bomber. Why, I'm not sure. JJ says he'll draft up some paperwork if Giant is willing to waive WCW if any further damage is done to him. He said the match is set. And Hogan seems pretty confident with his chances.
Listen, I know this would never fly here in 2016. Dude's got a broken damn arm.
Right.
That could spread to the rest of his body.
I think it was really only his thumb, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Anyway. So we're in Saginaw, Michigan, as stated before. And the first matchup is disorderly conduct. Yes, disorderly conduct versus the Steiner Brothers.
You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been reviewing matches on Observer Radio, and I have no idea which is Primo and which is Epico, which Uso is which.
Right.
And without fail, Dave must alert me which is which.
Dave has a great talent of derailing a show.
It's not that. I just don't understand how anyone could care.
That's what I'm saying.
And what's amazing about it is the announcers had no idea which guy was which in this match.
Yes, there was Mean Mike and Tough Tom.
Now, granted, I don't work for WWE.
Fair.
It's not my job. I mean, I'm recapping the show. I suppose I should know which one is Primo and Epico, but it doesn't matter. But if I were a commentator for WWE,
sure,
I should fucking know which is which.
That's fair.
But I'm not. These guys were. Tony's out there. He's describing him as one of disorderly conduct.
Yes.
He thinks the guy's Tom.
Uh-huh.
He's not sure. They have absolutely no idea which guy is which. Now, granted, it didn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. No. 19 years later, it didn't matter then. But I did laugh when it was very clear the announcers had no earthly idea which guy was which.
And apparently, I looked these guys up. Apparently, they had done some jobs on Sunday night.
Now, I will say, I remember disorderly conduct.
Or Saturday night, I'm sorry.
I remember the tag team. I don't have any idea which is which.
Well, why would you?
Which is really funny because I can tell Rage and Chaos apart. But they actually look different. That's the key.
One's blonde and one's brunette.
Yeah. These numbskulls look pretty much the same.
And
the Usos look the same. Primo and Epico look enough the same that I can't tell which one is which. But anyway, it is important. I do feel that it is important that I figure out which one is Tom now. Because he sucked. They do this match, and Scott is trying to fucking get Tom on his shoulders for the bulldog off the top. This is Scott Steiner, who's blown up bigger each week.
If you could pop him with a pin right now. He's so inflated.
He tried 3 times to get Tough Tom up before Tom finally gets up. And on the 3rd try, Scott, at the top of his lungs, just yells, "God damn it!" And as he's trying to get him up, Rick is standing on the top rope, waiting. And he's just looking down at this state of incompetence with a look of disgust on his face. Like, motherfucker, just get on his shoulders. That's all you have to do is sit on Scott Steiner's shoulders. Can you fucking get it done? I loved this match. They threw the guys around.
Right.
There was comedy.
Yes.
I laughed. What the hell more could I ask for in wrestling?
And at the end, DiBiase yells into the camera, "Hall and Nash, if you want the real belts, come get them." Next up, we had Ming versus Booker T. Jacqueline bounced her way down to the ring. This top, denying all laws of physics, the elasticity that held these memories in place. Amazing.
Was no elastic. They're fake. They
don't.
They defy gravity on their own.
I see.
Because they're not real.
Huh.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
But let's talk about Ming and Booker T. Believe it or not, I want to talk about that more than boobs. Because I loved this little match right here.
It was fun.
Ming went for a power bomb, Booker rolled through, sunset flip for the pin, and then Ming just stands up, lurches towards him, and puts him in the death grip.
Yeah.
So he's got him in the death grip.
The man no sells getting beat.
Well, it was a cradle. So Stevie runs down, and he breaks a wooden chair over Ming's head, and Ming responds by standing up and putting him in the Tongan death grip. Barbarian runs down. My favorite team destroys these two dudes. I loved it. Dave hated it. I loved it. Dave hated the Faces of Fear.
What?
It's painful to me.
Do you go back and read his reviews every week?
Yeah, I go back and look at everything, yeah. I believe he gave the match they had at the pay-per-view a dud.
Wow.
I was like, there's no way a Ming and Barbarian match was a dud. Come on.
They throw men around. Why would it be a dud?
I mean, they roar.
They do?
They're mean.
They are?
I liked it.
So they replay JJ's ultimatum to Raven from last night. Last night being World War III. JJ tells Raven he needs to sign a WCW contract or he needs to get out of here. Next up, we have Gene and JJ heading over to where Raven is sitting with his flock. There's a new character in the flock, unidentified. Of course, it's Lodi. Lodi. Dylan wants to know why the contract he got back from Raven was scribbled all over with a bunch of writing on it. JJ felt it was unprofessional. Raven said he added his own stipulations to his contract. He will wrestle when he wants, get paid what he wants, he will wrestle who he wants, and he will only compete in no disqualification matches.
Do you realize that the other side's then got to sign that contract?
Right.
Huh.
You just can't grab a contract and put in your own stuff after they've signed it?
No, I'm just going to write it what I want in, and then it's legal.
Okay. I'm going to refi my house.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't paying nothing for that. About this time, Scotty Riggs strolls over to the barrier, and he jumps the barrier. He's wearing a leather eye patch.
He's broken.
He's broken Scotty Riggs?
Yeah.
Interesting. Next up, Chris Benoit versus Sick Boy. The beating that Chris Benoit laid on this man was awesome.
He's still sold for the guy, though. Sick Boy got heat on Chris Benoit.
It was supposed to be Benoit versus Raven, but Raven grabbed Sick Boy by the hair and tossed him over the ring barrier and sent him into the ring to face Benoit. Of course, Benoit lays into him. Sick Boy tried a springboard. Looked pretty good with some of his aerial stuff. Looked pretty decent, actually. Benoit quickly grew tired of his springboards and started chopping him like a madman. Maybe that's a bad choice of words. I apologize. Sick Boy got a little bit of offense. He misses another springboard leg drop. Benoit hit the swan dive headbutt, and he went to put the crippler crossface on, but the flock hit the ring instead. Benoit immediately dispatches of all of them and puts the crippler crossface back on Sick Boy and gets the tap out. So all this interference to no avail, and Benoit still gets the tap out.
Well, let's talk about why this was great.
Okay.
So look, in WWE now, what would happen here is Benoit would be having a match with Sick Boy, all the geeks would hit the ring, they would beat him up, and they would leave him laying, and everybody would be sad. So what did WCW do instead? They actually did what was superior. Benoit's in the ring, all the geeks hit the ring, Benoit single-handedly beats up 5 men,
Right.
submits the dude, gets his hand raised, everybody's happy, and then they beat him up. So at least they gave the guy something before they beat the hell out of him.
Right.
Can we have more of that nowadays? Can we have more happy endings?
I should hope so.
Please, Craig.
Anyway, Benoit fights off Kidman and Lodi, and he gets nailed by Perry Saturn with the TV title, and Perry puts him in the rings of Saturn, all the while Raven is sitting there in the corner, and for whatever reason, Larry said he looks like Charles Manson.
Well, he's got a family.
He doesn't look like
They didn't
Charles
look
Manson.
like him. Charles Manson had long hair, and he oversaw some freaks. Same exact thing, dude.
Okay.
Don't question Larry, as we'll soon see.
So Larry's in the ring. He said he's had enough. Oh, I apologize. Let me back up just a little bit. They had the following announcement has been paid for by the NWO. He showed clips of Scott Hall and Eric Bischoff.
This is Granny here in the...
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing?
Well, the following announcement.
I see.
It just started playing.
They showed clips of Scott Hall and Eric Bischoff intimidating Zbyszko over the past few weeks, and all the way back to the beatdown they had at Halloween Havoc. So Larry had enough. He's in the ring. He heads to the ring, and immediately propaganda begins to fall. One of the fans picks up the piece of paper and shows it to the camera, and it is a picture of Bischoff standing over Zbyszko. Larry,
I'll jump in here. Basically, Larry wants to fight Eric.
yes.
And Eric says yes. And they go after each other. And security holds them apart. And then it's over.
Right.
Nothing is settled.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the show under 90 minutes. You were taking a while to get to that part right there.
I'm going to bring my Mac next time instead of my iPad so I can actually see it. Apparently, I'm getting older.
My eyesight's better than ever.
You have LASIK.
That's true.
Next up, we had Prince Iaukea versus Alex Wright.
This was when the damn show fell off a cliff.
It really is.
If the show would have ended at the Larry segment, even though nothing happened, it would have been a fine show.
It's true.
But from this point forward, every single thing, I guess maybe it wasn't here. I think it was actually the Brad Armstrong match. But it was slowly descending into a boring show. And then it kept getting more boring and more boring and more boring. And by the end, I was bored to tears.
They had mentioned that Prince Iaukea was back from a 3-week tour of New Japan. Apparently, New Japan, desperate for talent. Alex is winning on Iaukea until Deborah jumped up onto the ring apron
Oh, my
to
God.
cheer her man, and quote-unquote, her dress got caught in the turnbuckle.
Okay, so listen. Deborah's on the apron for like 10 minutes. And the ref is mad. Alex is mad at her. The ref is mad. Alex is mad. The ref is mad. Alex is mad. I'm like, can we fucking get going with this match? Just go home. But they just kept at it. And finally, after seriously, like, it felt like 20 minutes. Ayakea won with a high cross.
Yeah.
So she's been trapped in the goddamn turnbuckle for 10 minutes now.
Right.
She can't get herself out of it. So as soon as the match is over, Alex fires Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
He starts walking to the back, and she follows him.
Right. Don't look at me, dude. I don't know how she, quote unquote, got her dress undone. By the way, she sold this potential wardrobe malfunction by leaning up against the turnbuckle while she's on the apron. Ridiculous.
This sucked. But then we had something great. Randy Savage and the Disco Inferno. First off, the idea that we saw Randy Savage, the Macho Man Randy Savage, in a singles match on Nitro with the Disco Inferno blows my mind. So, people are going to be appalled at this comparison, but I don't care. It's my show. Randy Savage is exactly like Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT right now. He is a fucking great worker, and he gets the absolute most out of everything he does, and he never does anything more than he needs to.
That's actually fair.
He doesn't do one thing more than he needs to do. He doesn't make one movement more than he needs to make. Everything he does looks great. God, he was so good in this match. And it wasn't even much of a match.
Now, the announcers are pointing out how often Elizabeth had been getting involved physically in the matches. So the first thing that happens, Disco goes to hit the ropes, and Liz grabs his leg. First thing. He goes outside. He's confronting Liz. Macho Man sneaks up behind him, hits him in the head. He turns around. Elizabeth shoves him into the ring post.
Yeah, she posted Disco.
Yeah.
Flying elbow finish. Second one. Third one. Beats up the ref. And then has Liz put her foot on Disco's chest, and Savage counts the pin.
And then he hits a fourth elbow, just cuz.
What a bully.
They pan over to a big, huge cover of WCW Nitro for PlayStation 1. Tony calls the game WCW versus the NWO World Tour. Even though on your screen, you're looking at something that says WCW Nitro. They come back for a commercial, and Tony says, I apologize. I called that incorrectly, and calls it by the real name. Actually, pretty funny.
All right, I'm reviewing this next match for you, because if we spend more than 10 seconds on this, I'm going to be furious.
Can I say this?
Yes.
The one good thing I will say about this match, I forget how great Brad Armstrong is, and when I see him in the ring doing mat work with Dean Malenko for just like the first minute of this match, I was very happy. Take it away, Brian.
Solid match. Nobody gave a shit. In fact, they chanted boring. And then Dean Malenko won with a clover leaf.
Yeah.
Mongo!
Yeah. Gene brings out Mongo.
Mongo was so awesome.
He is cackling to himself.
He now respects Alex Wright. He said, man, it only took this guy a couple of weeks to do what it took me years to do.
Right. He's cackling about Deborah being fired by Alex Wright. Deborah comes out and tries to sweet talk Mongo. He says, let's get the team back together. She said she'll do anything. To which Gene raised an eyebrow. Realizing that everybody in America's mind has just gone to anything. So she changes her words just a little bit and tries to take it back, but Mongo is telling her to hit the bricks. I don't want to hear it. Get out, leave.
No, what happened was he said, get the hell out of here.
Yes, Brian, that's what he said.
Yeah, let's not mince words.
So she's on her way to WWF. Gene looks at the camera and looks at Mongo and he says, you know, she said she'd do anything. And then they went on to the next segment. Gene was a little creepy here.
He's always creepy.
Next up, we had Buff Bagwell versus Chris Jericho.
A solid match, but it was just a match. At this point, everything was boring. Bagwell beat him up for a while, Jericho made a comeback, and then Buff hit a blockbuster and pinned Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
What?
Match went 7 minutes.
That was 7 boring minutes. And then we had 7 more boring minutes. Kurt Henig and Ray Traylor for the U.S. title. There is only one thing to talk about. There's actually 2 things to talk about in this match, and that's it. The first thing is, Ray Traylor did the 10 punches in the corner, where you put a guy in the corner, and you climb up to the second turnbuckle, and you rain down punches on the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Ray Traylor climbed up to the first turnbuckle.
Sure.
And so, instead of looking violent, it looked very intimate.
Maybe he lost count.
What are you talking about?
Well, maybe he counted the apron as 1, and then he climbed up to the first one. 2. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Well, he was not where he was supposed to be.
I understand.
And he was crowding him, as they say. So then, at the end of this match, Boss Man hits the Boss Man Slam.
Yes, he does.
I believe that Scott Hall was supposed to hit the ring to break up the
I
pin.
believe that as well.
But hey, it's Scott Hall, it's 1997, and he's just late. Saunters his ass in. He's so late that Kurt Hennig kicks out of the Boss Man Slam. Now, I know that Hall was supposed to break it up because the Big Boss Man, as he is covering Kurt Hennig, is looking to the back, waiting for Scott Hall.
Right.
And he looked to the back in such a dramatic manner that Tony Schiavone had to turn it into a storyline. He says, Ray Traylor knew as soon as he hit his move that the NWO was going to run in.
Well, if that's what they tell you in the back, that's probably what's going to happen.
And you know what? This show has come to the point now where the announcers are acknowledging that if a babyface hits a move on an NWO guy, everybody's going to run in. And it's just common knowledge now.
Right.
So yes, the NWO ran in. They beat up Ray Traylor. I fucking was trying so hard not to fall asleep. This was so boring.
And Macho Man delivered the 5th top rope elbow drop of the evening. Here
Now
in
you
this
wonder
match.
why his hip was going.
Right. They then showed clips of Scott Hall attacking Giant's arm at the pay-per-view, which leads us to the main event. WCW World Champion Hulk Hogan versus the Giant.
Dude, this match. First off, Bischoff and Rude come out to do commentary, and they're not good. So, Hulk Hogan is the heel, and the Giant is the babyface.
Correct.
Hulk Hogan's the champion. Hulk Hogan offered to wrestle anybody, and then accepted a match with the Giant.
Right.
So, I guess in storyline, Hogan must have thought that he could really beat anybody, but he told his buddies, if I'm in trouble, run in. But anyway, if you take out that, which they never say, you just kind of have to presume it yourself because the rest of the fucking story doesn't make sense. Hogan's a total babyface here. He issued an open challenge, the biggest guy on the roster accepted, and he said sure, and he went in there and wrestled the guy. Then, the Giant, who has a broken arm or finger or thumb or hand or whatever, he's got a big giant fucking cast on his arm. Mm-hmm. He starts walloping Hulk Hogan with it.
As you would.
Right in front of the referee.
As you would.
I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah, so he's fighting back the pain. He's hitting everyone with the cast.
No, I know he's fighting through the pain, but that's a blatant foreign object heel spot.
But he signed a contract, a special thing with JJ. It's okay, Brian.
This is he's playing Bob Orton here.
I hear you.
Who was a heel with his damn cast.
I understand. I was just giving you a hard time.
This is so stupid. And then Giant hits the choke slam. It's too bad they didn't have those things in UFC where you can buy the headphones to hear the commentary.
Yeah.
Because then all the fans would have understood what was going on here. And they must have already, because Giant hits a choke slam, and just like Tony Schiavone said, everybody stands up and they look to the back. And sure as shit, for the 9 millionth time,
a 7-foot-tall Sting strolled to the ring.
you could totally, I mean, it wasn't even he was tall, but you could see how he walked.
Yeah.
It was Kevin Nash.
Absolutely.
Which at least played into the storyline with the Giant.
So Kevin strolls down to the ring. He wallops the Giant's bad hand with a bat. He then unmasks and gives the cheesiest grin I've ever seen. They all gang up on...
I do love when heels do something, and like, it's so obvious what they did, but they think that they fooled everyone.
Right.
Like, he took off his mask and he's just howling like, you all thought this 7-foot man was really Sting, who could barely walk with skinny legs. They pulling over on them fans.
So they start beating on the Giant, and then one of them looks up, and Sting is descending from the rafters at a rapid pace. So this dummy, who they had to have dipped in cement, falls from the rafters and crashes through the ring apron and through all the way to the ground. And so just the head is sticking up. Of course, it's a dummy, and they start hitting with the bat and ha.
Could you possibly undersell this anymore? They drop a dummy from the ceiling, and the dummy goes through the ring. Now, obviously, in hindsight, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
But it's bad enough that the dummy goes through the ring, its head is sticking out, as you said, and Kevin Nash stands up, and he gets the belt, and he fucking swings it and just smashes the dummy's head.
Yeah.
And then he hits it again.
And again.
And then Hogan gets the bat, and he's like golfing, and he just smashes the head of this dummy, and I'm like, this is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in wrestling. I mean, I can't think of anything fake that comes close to this.
Brian, there was nobody in that arena that thought that was actually
I know
Sting.
that, but the
Why
visual...
is it horrifying? The
visual of this thing falling through the ring and then bashing its head in with a baseball bat, swinging it as hard as they can.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
So this insanity ensues, and it fades to black, and thank God that was one of the... It was really good at the beginning, and then it fell off a cliff. This was not a good edition of Nitro.
Listen, I'm not a fan of dropping the dummy through the ring, especially after what happened with Owen Hart.
Right.
But when I saw this happen, I thought, okay, here's what's got to happen. I start booking after I see it. Even though I would never book it in the first place, when it's happening, I then try to book it. So I'm thinking, the dummy should have fallen from the sky and went through the ring, and then they were hitting it in the head with the baseball bat. And the fans are already chanting, "We want Sting."
Right.
So what should have happened is, after they hit it in the head with the baseball bat, they should have been in there in the ring, and they should have been celebrating and laughing and grab-assing and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, they did that too.
And as they're doing that, the real Sting should have switched places and then came out of the hole and beat the shit out of everybody.
That's not bad.
That would have at least been a payoff. Just too many of these NWO run-ins with no payoff.
Yeah, like you said, it's getting very repetitious.
But people are still buying tickets in droves. It's crazy. It's madness.
A buddy of mine pointed out how many Austin 316 signs there are at WCW. I don't know if you've noticed.
I have not noticed.
It's the switch is coming.
Not for a long time.
Okay.
I mean, the rating switch starts in spring of next year.
So less than 6 months.
We're less than 6 months away from the rating switch. But WCW is still making money hand over fist, and it's like neck and neck for a long time.
Yeah, but they're just running in place right now.
I know, but you watch the show and you think that they should be getting a 0 rating. And they're not.
Right.
I watched the show, and I mean, it's still fun. I like to watch it every week, but it kind of blows my mind that many people just keep watching the same show every week.
People are creatures of habit.
Yes, they are. That show was boring, everybody. You don't need to watch it. At least anything past about the first 20 minutes. And that's it!
That's it.
Don't forget, tomorrow on Filthy 4 Daily, we're doing the Ode to the Overweight Classic. I need your MP3 sent to me, Brian at WrestlingObserver.com. 30 seconds or less MP3. Filthy contest in the subject line. We're giving away a Fight Kit Fight Jacket from Filthy Tom, ring worn in his last UFC fight, which he should have won via decision. All of you that saw the Corey Anderson fight, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't lose that fight. Give me a break. We'll have Filthy on the show tomorrow to talk about it. The mystery arbiter will be calling in to make a final decision on the Overweight Classic. And we've confirmed it is a him. It ain't Granny. A lot of people think it's Granny, but clearly she's in charge of the Overweight Classic Control Center, so they must have somebody else. Don't know who it's going to be, but we'll find out tomorrow. And that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Goodbye.